Takashi is a fucking rat. This man fires a bunch of people for no reason and then slips on a banana and fucking dies. Next thing you know, he's throwing babies at goblins. I was reading this and I got to thinking, I'm like, man, throwing babies as a weapon, that's like we can optimize this. So let's optimize it. Let's create the best baby throwing strategies. All right, so first we got his kids. We got Gobami, a goblin. She's weak as shit, but she's flexible as hell. But because she's a baby, her arms aren't long enough to take advantage of any of like the grappling moves and shit like that. So she's just a flexible child. More importantly, she's probably the heaviest of the 4 kids. So you have her. Then there's Harpiko. She's a harpy. She has wings, but it's hard for her to fly, but she can hover. Also really important, because she has wings, she can control her trajectory when being thrown, right? There's Kournikova, actual newborn. Her stat sheet said that she was literally just born like a second ago, and her stat sheet also says that she can shoot silk, although we don't see that in the game. She has like some weird, like, is not confirmed, but there's a chance that her screams as a child has like a mental effect on people, because she convinces, well, not her specifically, but when Takashi told the elves that like we ate all the food, so you gotta go out and get more food, and then she screamed, they went from like noble elves to like slavers. Although there's something to be said about going from objectively moral person to a slaver in less than a week. So either they were looking for an excuse, or she has like a mental ability with her screams. And then there's math time. So it takes about 3,000 newtons to compress the chest enough to break the rib cage, but it's like a chance, about a 20%. When Gobami was thrown, it killed the goblin instantly. So to sort of account for that, we're gonna raise that up to about 4K. All right, assuming that goblins and humans have similar dispositions, a 3-year-old, we're estimating Gobami to be 3 because she's capable of like comprehending. She can answer questions, she just can't talk. So 3-year-old, about 30 pounds, right? Because we're doing physics shit, we gotta calculate this into cringe. So the cringe unit would be about 13.6 kilograms, right? And this is newtons. So force is that, and then we go 4K, divide that by the 13.6. We get about, we do squigglies for the about, we get about 294 meters a second. This is technically acceleration. I could calculate velocity, fall off velocity, beginning velocity, but I'd need distance and then the time, and there's too many assumptions to be made. And I think a much cleaner assumption would just be that this is the speed Gobami is flying at. So back into real units, this is about 658 miles per hour. So we know that Takashi can throw kids at about 658 miles per hour. In Gobami's case, it kills anyone immediately. Harpiko and Kournikova are lighter than Gobami, so they're probably not going to kill, considering that we're talking minimums, and Tabby is too heavy to throw. But we can work around this. So the most optimal strategy I have thought of so far, after contemplating this for a couple of days, I went to work thinking about how best to throw babies. The most optimal way to do it would be you use Gobami as a bullet. You throw her to clean out mobs and shit like that, and because she's a baby, she can walk back, and so you can throw her again. Meanwhile, what you do to minimize the amount of throws, you can have Harpiko hold Kournikova, and then you throw Harpiko, and you don't even have to aim, you can just throw Harpiko in the general direction, and she can adjust flight to like land on the target. And with Kournikova, she can drop Kournikova on an enemy, and then Kournikova can like tie them up and immobilize them, and then Takashi like slithers over with Tab. Only strategy that this wouldn't work on are slimes. They're immune, air quotes, to physical damage, but we can work around that. You see, Molotovs also exist. So while this isn't exactly baby throwing, we're still optimizing the child labor here, right? So we have Gobami, who is like making or retrieving the Molotovs, and Kaneko, using her silk, can tie Molotovs together to increase payload, right? And you got with his big ass fucking arms. Tabby can just start chucking Molotovs at slimes, and Harpyko can rain down Molotovs from above. So while it's not an optimal way of throwing kids, it is an optimal way of using kids, which in spirit is about the same as throwing kids. It's the same amount of traumatic child labor. Now, usually this is the part where I just cut the video off and end it, but as I was recording this, I came to the realization that baby bullets is a really goated euphemism for cum.